there is a timestamp in case you're trying to revisit the spot that you may forgot a little bit. And hi, I'm New Jay. I used to have a lot of hard time following tutorials, not just music stuff. It's the same as cooking recipe, coffee recipe. You know that feel, doing exactly what they say step by step, but the outcome are very different. You maybe think is lack of experience, but experience it's not come from by repeating failure. In my opinion, it's a reward of keep pushing, but still keep adjusting if it's not work. And when it comes to music stuff, it will get very chaos and confused. The bunch of skill sets that you don't have will lock you out from noticing you in the wrong direction. It's the typical, you gotta know at least everything to getting started. So last week I had this idea. Actually, it's a month ago from when I record this voiceover. What if I write the Boombap beatmaking logic down to the paper? What Willie looks like. Okay, let me take you through my logic map. It's a bit scary. And yeah, I make beats for fun. I'm not making a living from this. Actually, this hobby makes my wallet go thinner and thinner. But hell yeah, I enjoy every bit of it. Well, I believe you enjoy it too, cause you're here. You want some nerdy shit, right? Let's go. Boombap beat have three key elements: breaks, sample instrumental, and effects. In the drums, we got kick drums, snare drums, cymbals, and some percussions, you know, like toms and tambourine, etc. These four are the main things you typically look when sampling. In the instrumental part, it could be chops, or you can get loops from some sample packs. One shot, like step, horn, and you could have a real player, but it's not commonly seen when the beat making it's just a fun hobby. If you can play an instrument, I don't think you will have that much fun by making beat. In effects, we have ambience, texture, noise, and riser. Effects is really underestimating thing that a lot of us are not noticing. But yeah, it's important. Trust me, bro. At this point, I think I'm drawing a clear picture of what's in the Boombap, and most of the tutorials are in this place. Don't get me wrong though, every tutorial is basically like this. This is the right way. Well, actually I'm the wrong way. I'm the crazy one likes overthinking here. I think what matters is, or what really can give you the magic is how you process the information after you consume it. I divide the process that I do into two categories: flavor and timing. These are bound together. You can't lack of either one. You must balance them. If the flavor not right, the timing won't work. If the timing not right, the flavor, well, you get the idea. I want to start with the flavor first. It's all about the mindset. I believe the first step to become a chef is to be picky about the food. I mean, you must have the expectation first, then use that expectation to judge what you made. If it not match, then you do something to make it more tasty. See, we're running through this problem. You gotta know at least everything to getting started. If you don't have a good range of knowledge, where the fuck you gonna get your expectation? For me, I built my experience from listening others beat. They could say whatever they want in the video or at the studio, but at the end of the day, you're only getting experience from listening to the actual stuff that you want to make. Most of the time, a great beat maker are not going to be a good teacher. In my mind, flavor has four main ingredients: the character of the sound, the tone of the sound, the shape of the sound, and what emotion it contains. It's like enjoy a really good cup of tea or espresso, but if you drink espresso the first time, even having a good balanced one, the only few words you could describe it probably are bitter, sour, sweet. It's the same as the sound. You hear it the first time, the only thing you could tell probably is the loudness. When you step 1 foot deeper into this rabbit hole, the next thing you notice is your bank account keeps shrinking every month. I'm joking, a lot of us beatmakers won't need a bank account at the first place. So again, remember these four: character of the sound, the tone, shape, and emotion. What makes the character of the sound? First thing that comes to my mind is attack and release, and then decay and sustain. You should find out how attack and release are affecting the sound or sample. And when you listen to the beats you love, you should identify how is the ADSR relationship are like in those music, how the beatmaker of that album makes them work, and how these four keeps moving or shifting that makes the beat have its unique character. After you have some basic idea, go make something on your MPC. You could adjust these with envelope, transient shaper, and compressor. Different types of tools create different flavors, and different plugins create different feels. But don't fall for that. Remember, we're broke. But honestly, please don't. Next is the sound far back or up front. When I start making beats, I have no idea the space of the sound can shape the feel that dramatically. When the time goes on and the trash I made pile up, I notice a lot of them have this common problem, and I don't like that. I know there are no rules when making art, but 9 times out of 10, if you use a kick that is far back from the mic, will not work with the snare that have a closed-up mic. But we can adjust these two with some tools. If it's too close, you could use early reflections, late reflections, pre-delay, on a reverb. If it's too far, find another sound and layering it. But I recommended that no matter if you just started or doing this for a few years, keep the process minimum. If it doesn't work, just find another sound. That will save you a lot of time. Tools are helpful for adding flavor or control. Playing around with it is cool, you should do that. But in the creating stage, avoid fixing stuff. Is the sound large or small? For example, a clap. If it's short, it will sound small. If the tail is long and steady, it will sound huge. And you could use an echo to make it feel more bigger. And what could go wrong with a good old widener, right? I like to sample everything in mono. It will avoid some problem only in stereo. And actually, mono is just better for me. You could easily pan the sound and find the right spot. A lot of 70s records had those hard pan drums and instruments. Making mono, your life will be easier. And that's the character part. Let's move on to the tone. Is the sound bright or dark? This is the most easy thing that everyone could identify. And I notice if I get this right first, the tone will be mostly right. For example, 9 times out of 10, we don't use a bright kick and a dark snare drum to program Boombap beat. We could use a high-pass filter, low-pass filter to adjust it. Sometimes bandpass will give me the magic. The next thing that comes to my mind is boxy or harsh. But don't get me wrong though, boxy does not mean the sound is not good. Sometimes I want that boxy kick and a harsh snare. What matters is they need to match my expectation. If they don't, a bell filter is my first go-to, and on MPC we have Kill EQ, which is also good to adjust it. Sometimes just try the wrong thing, it won't hurt. Well, there's nothing wrong, there's only thing you like and you don't like. And you better like this video. Dense or loose. What this means, I can't find a good way to describe it. It's about saturation and harmonic, odd harmonic and even harmonic. If you into this, it has its own rabbit hole, and there's someone way better than me to explain this, so this video will help. If the sound is too dense, I like to send it to some short reverb or slap delay or a combo to fill out the stereo image. If the sound is too loose, soft clip will be my best friends, but layering it is another way I like to go to. New York compression is crazily good too. And there's another level of dense and loose. They are distorted and hollow. Sometimes I love distorted sample, give you a good chunk of mid-range bite. But sometimes it bite in a bad way that I don't enjoy. And that way I will try to adjust it by using DS, high pass, fat filter, Q, Pro Q, yeah. And if the sound is hollow to a point it's not pleasant, I would try to bring back some of the body by using tube drive. Maybe a compressor that have loads of characters, maybe a clipper, sometimes it works, but genuinely use some sort of saturation will be good. Shape is kinda depends on your listening environment, where your speaker placed, the room reflection, the size of the room, and the canceling problem. They all affect what you hear from your pair of studio monitors. The good way is to listen to a lot of other established music in your environment, so you have a good idea how they sound like, what they're shaped like, how low the kick at is. In your belly or in your chest? Where does the high frequency flow at? Your head or above it? How deep is the transient or how shallow? And how everything holds together to create that cohesive and consistent vibe to push the music in your face. High-end hardware and high-end room treatment makes a huge difference. But owning them, it's not the shortcut to have the technique. If you can't understand your bedroom, your normal gear, there's no way you understand how the high-end equipment function and use them effectively to bring your shit to another level. Well, it's only my opinion. You do whatever you want. Mid and side. Some sound have a strong mid signal that means more body and focus. Some strong on side image. If it's strong on mid, you could send to effects that only output side image, then mix them to create a more balanced sound, or you could use plugin like a Waves Center to adjust it directly. Fat Filter Pro Q is good to adjust the specific frequencies, or just use MPC, be creative. And then we have left and right. Just pan it, or you could use ping pong delay. Playing with it's fun. About full and flat, I just turn down the volume and adjust it by add more layers. If you feel something is spiked out or sunken, slow attack compression, downwards compression is good starting point. If it's too sunken, I like to start with some upward expansion. This part I have not much to talk about, it's more like a mixing skill, but instead of focusing on the detail, I use it to create flavor.
Emotion. Is it uplifting or down?
Is the tempo lag or rush? Is it energized or peaceful, loud or quiet? For the first three, if it not match, you better find something else. I usually have separate sampling session. For a few hours, I just dig in, cutting, and do file organization. The more I have in my folder, the easier to get the things I want. If I do all the things in one session, sometimes I just can't find the stuff that fits the mood. You know, some sad days, all the sample I came across are uplifting, and this type of shit makes me more sad. Waste a few hours and nothing came out great. And about loud or quiet, I'm not talking about the volume, the loudness, it's the velocity. And combine all of these, that's how I find my style, and all these parameters have a variable, amount. Your amount is what makes you special. Maybe it looks a bit much, but it actually took split of second to think all of these. It's more like a second nature to me now. If the flavor part is your brain, the timing is your body, your muscle, your bones. You want to be smart and strong. But still, we need to make it there step by step. Like a baby need to learn how to crawl first, then try to step up. There's gonna be a lot of falls and it hurts, but eventually you will start walking slow. Once you're done that, the running will be easy. If you can make the steady beat sound good, and you keep trying all the time, what you're doing here is putting a baby in the NFL and force him to get a touchdown. Steady is easy, everything is on grid, and when everything is on grid, there's only two things that could go wrong. It means troubleshooting will be easy and quick. Either the flavor is not right, or the pattern you create does not match the style of Boombap. The result won't sound fancy, but mastering this is the fast way to learn how your flavor work and how the troubleshooting with something feels off. When I'm starting it, I have no idea where I'm doing wrong, and I like doing some crazy nudging shit on every beat, and I end up with tons of trash drum programs. Well, after a year, I analyzed all these beats. That's the time I finally realized most of them, 95% of them, don't need nudging. It's either I had a bad sound selection or I made a bad drum patterns. Swing. The swing I'm talking about here is only the MPC swing. You don't need to swing everything. I like to swing the ghost kick and obviously the hi-hat. I don't select all and make them swing in the same time. Ghost kick could be 60, how to pronounce that? I don't know. You get the idea. 50% of swing and second kick could be one note, but only 53. You get the idea. This could become very chaos once you add more perks, so that's why I recommend it. Mastering the static timing first. You need to have a good understanding what parts of your drum program is not working. When you add more and more complex timing elements, it's really easy to think the problem comes from the wrong timing, not the sound or pattern itself. And when you have 60 more tracks of different elements in different swing, it's really frustrating to troubleshooting. Believe me. About the delay time, it's just too much to explain here, and there are good chunks of YouTube video that doing a superb job out there. And the book. This is the last time I'm saying this. You need to understand the basic first and mastering it. Then you can move on to some slightly advanced stuff. Otherwise it will make you feel frustrating. And also you could finger drumming. I highly recommend that you start finger drumming. 10 minutes a day is an excellent starting point. The more you finger drumming, the more groove you will understand, and this is the thing that just gives me pure fun.
So now, you may have a good idea of flavoring and timing in my mind.
But what's the benefits of using these two? It's really easy. You can use it to make your style more consistent because you know what you expect, and you could use it to analyze other beatmakers. And maybe you will see a clear picture when you're using these things that I made from this chart. Maybe not. And after you find what amount they use, you could try to emulate their recipe to say if it works for you or just not your cup of tea. And the one that I like is to use this overthink more and make more beats and keep adding stuff to my chart and overthink more.
Well, talking about making beats, I believe there are only two ways you could start it.
Drum first or instrumental first. How you start your beat making process will give you different outcome. Each one have some upside and downside. You should try everything to see if it works for you before you settle on one. When I start with drum, I'm thinking about the hi-hat first or kick and snare. The outcome will be different. And then when it's done, I add clap, maybe add a crash cymbal. Sometimes I like a ride cymbal, maybe a tom. The idea behind starting with drum is to frame the timing first. We build a big fence first, then fit some juicy instrumental after. But no matter what you add, you won't change the fence too much. Maybe a little adjust here and there, but the shape will be basically remains the same. In this way, the time matching will be a bit easier. If the instrumental sample won't work with the drums, you could just switch to another one. When I start with instrumental, I'm thinking about using chops, loops, or shots. These three will create very different types of beats. For my personal reference, chops will be my first go-to. Then I add bass, arpeggio, maybe a lead synth, then the drum, and adjusting everything to fit in. In this way, we could have a lot of control with the emotion and story. It will be less drum-driven beats. From my experience, the beat I made in this way will be more like a Ninth Wonder style. And don't forget the time matching everything. It will be a totally different beat if the time match is not right. That's why I highly recommend start with the drum first. After all it's done, this will be my pattern A. It's the core of the beat. The rest will be finding a way to avoid listener fatigue or find a way to make the story more dynamic. What could I do? I could change the drum elements, or I could change the instrumental elements. That's the most obvious too. When you change it, the listener will immediately noticing, so this too determines the direction of the beat. But sometimes we don't want that big of change. So we maybe add some effects, maybe send some elements to effects. Mute something is a good starting point. Add a ear candy will be good. Maybe rearrange the elements. And these will be the change that listener won't immediately noticing, but their brain will pick it up. All of that will become pattern B, C, D, E, F, G. But don't just put every pattern one after others. You still need to think about how to connect these patterns. The way you connect them will shift the feels. And when you do it wrong, the beat falls apart. Or, in other words, the story you tell is not that convincing. The arrangement has a lot of stuff in it. I can't make all these stuff in one video. If you want to see more, subscribe, bro. And I'm planning to make more stuff like this. Oh, I bite my tongue. And there's a lot of detail that I can include in this video, like how the different ghost kick will make it or destroy a groove, how hi-hat patterns shift will drive the story in another direction, how to come up with your own synth effects, how to make them work. Yeah, that's it. I hope you like my idea. See ya.